Hi everyone, dialing in here from Los Angeles. So it's about 12:30 in the morning for me here, so it's a late one. Really excited to be chatting with you, sharing Cybernut with everyone on the call. Cybernut's now partnered with Apps Events, which we're super excited about. So if any of you may have heard of me through my other company that I started a while ago. I started my first company back in high school called Nutcase, which is a brand of cases. So I started this out of my bedroom when I was in high school, built it into a brand selling protective cases to schools all over the world. It became a family-run company that my cousin and my father now operate. And Nutcase now supplies schools in over 1,000 countries, over 1,000 schools in 60 countries with over 800 school districts in the United States. And this is just a little bit of background that I've been working in the K-12 space for quite some time now, over 10 years. And about a year ago, I was able to remove myself from the day-to-day operations of Nutcase and begin the conversations of having, deeper, more meaningful conversations with the IT directors and CTOs that we work with in our schools. I pretty much asked everybody what keeps them up at night. And as you've heard, cybersecurity was the number one concern. Everyone that we spoke to talked to us about cybersecurity being their absolute top concern. And understandably so, just like Dan and Pete mentioned earlier, the unfortunate reality is that schools are very easy targets for all the reasons you see here on the screen: lack of budget, staff, and expertise. They have tons of valuable data, weak passwords, and no MFA in certain circumstances, hundreds or thousands of devices to manage, and limited or poor security training. And like we heard, 90% of cyber attacks in K-12 are caused by human error, teachers and staff members clicking on phishing links. So that causes a pretty serious situation. And in the United States, the number is about $2 million. That's the cost on average of a data breach or a cyber incident for a public school in the United States, which is obviously an enormous sum of money and something that hopefully no one should ever have to pay, but unfortunately that is the cost. Now, of course, the future of phishing, like we just talked about, is looking quite grim. And in our view, schools are really just not prepared for what's coming around the corner. Like Dan said, the level of deep fake sophistication is rapidly improving. And it's really a matter of minutes now that someone can just take a photo and start mimicking and creating video content off of just an image, which is pretty scary. So yeah, the future of phishing is definitely looking grim, but that's why we've started working on this new project. And what we did is we essentially, in the process of doing the research for this new company, we asked a lot of the schools that we work with at Nutcase what were their current providers for security training. And everyone that we spoke to pretty much told us these were the usual suspects. And to be very direct about it, these are great companies. Obviously, they're huge billion-dollar companies, but none of them were built for K through 12. They were all built for the enterprise. And as a result, unfortunately, some of these tools are quite complicated, expensive, hard to manage, very manual intensive, and the content isn't that K-12 friendly. So my team and I really came to the conclusion that there was an opportunity to build a security training solution bespoke for K-12. And that's what led us to Cybernut, which is the first fully automated and gamified security training solution built exclusively for K through 12. And our mission is to train teachers, staff, faculty, and students to identify and report phishing emails. So what makes us different is when we built the software, we had an advisory committee of IT directors, CTOs, and CISOs who participated in the brainstorming and iterative feedback of the development. So we actually brought this product to life right from the ground with the support of K through 12 IT leaders, which really gave us a lot of insights and feedback, which is really helpful. Another big component is that unlike a lot of other security training out there, I heard on the call people feeling that their staff, had some negative pushback or feelings about doing the trainings because perhaps the trainings were too hard or caught them off guard. Cybernut was designed really to allow every single individual user in a school to have a personalized training experience. And the way that looks is everyone starts on level 1 difficulty at the beginning of the campaign. And gradually, over the course of the year, as the campaign is running, we increase the difficulty of training at every user's own pace. So it's a much more inclusive feeling that makes it less intimidating, and it's a much more tailored approach rather than treating people like sheep and moving them from one difficulty level to the next as a group. Um, so yeah, that's another big point. What we also discovered is that a lot of the training right now that most of the providers offer is primarily video-based training, long videos and quizzes. And there's a lot of data and research that shows that people don't usually take that type of training very seriously. They might stand up and walk away. They might try to cheat. They might try to skip the videos. So yes, video training is, of course, a necessary evil, but it isn't really the most effective way at getting people to really change their behavior when it comes to a cybersecurity context. And with that, Cybernut really has innovated on this problem. We've developed a new way of training that versus traditional training that's long and tedious, Cybernut training is less than 1 minute long. It's a very quick, frictionless experience that really kind of blends into the day-to-day lives of a teacher or faculty or admin. Another big component of the solution from IT departments, when we built it, they pretty much asked us, like, look, we're understaffed, we're spread thin. We do not want a solution that requires a lot of manual intervention, campaign building, template adjusting, and so on and so forth. And so from the get-go, we really designed Cybernut to be extremely hands-free and automated once you get a campaign up and running. We're also proud to say that by popular demand, originally Cybernut was created just to serve the faculty and staff in schools. But through the pilots that we were running, it became very clear that a lot of the customers that we were working with had a demand to train their students. And I think it's clear to all of us here on the call that teaching students how to report, how to recognize and report phishing emails and begin exercising that muscle of being able to determine real versus fake is very important. This kind of bleeds into a little bit of digital citizenship, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. But the long story short is Cybernut has, I think is one of the first providers in the market right now to have a very sophisticated and clever training experience to help students middle school through high school, but even elementary, learn about phishing and essentially participate in phishing simulation exercises. So with that being said, I'm going to dive into a live demo. To get started, I want to mention that Cybernut is accessible on both Google and Microsoft platforms. So we're cross-compatible with both platforms. Most of the schools we work with are using Google. And the first thing I want to mention is Cybernut's cool because it doesn't require a user login from your faculty and staff. It's a very frictionless experience. So the actual experience of Cybernut is in the form of a Gmail add-in that gets added directly into the Gmail email client. This gets pushed out from your backend to every single email client, every single staff, faculty, and student. So it's a one-click push to everybody, and there's no login after that. So we've come up with a clever way of designing the experience so that users don't have to log in or remember a username or password, which is a pro that we've heard. So that's the entire product experience from an end user perspective, a Gmail add-in that works on the Gmail web app and the Gmail mobile app. Now, the way Cybernut works is when a campaign gets set up on the back end, which I'll show you shortly, the way it works is Cybernut is going to start sending phishing simulation emails to all of your faculty, staff, and students. Now, I should mention you would have a campaign for staff and faculty separated from your students, two different types of campaigns. These emails that you're seeing here, okay, are what we would consider to be level 1 difficulty. So relatively easy emails to spot. They're misspelled, they have missing logos, broken links, and so on and so forth. So they're supposed to be relatively easy to spot. Now, the entire objective of Cybernut is to send these phishing simulation emails. Now, sorry, I'll backtrack. The unique thing about it is that we send these phishing simulation emails to all of your faculty and staff with different content on different days at different times to different user groups. So the likelihood of you sitting in an office with your coworkers and getting the same phishing email at the same time is zero. That's not going to happen. So it's a very authentic phishing environment that makes it more real. Now, getting back into the demo, let's say I open up this email on a Monday morning and I see this DocuSign. I think it looks suspicious, so I'm going to open up the Cybernut plugin. And as you can see, there's a red report button. I'm going to go ahead and click it. And this is where the Cybernut magic starts to happen. As soon as a user reports, Cybernut is going to reward you. We're the only security training tool that doesn't make you feel terrible about yourself all the time. We've developed a method of positive reinforcement designed to make people feel good when they do something right. And that's a first critical, unique kind of differentiator right now, is that we're really pushing and focusing on making people feel good about themselves when they do something right. After they celebrate that they caught a fish, they reported one, successfully, they get brought to a quick quiz. They answer the quiz and they're done. So just like that, in a matter of seconds, they've completed what we call our micro training experience. Now, because we talked about earlier the fact that these trainings are going to get harder over time, that means the phishing emails are going to get harder. Let's go ahead and see what happens if I click on one of these emails. So this Netflix reset password, I click, and yikes, you fell for a fish. So in a very K-12 friendly way, we reprimand the user in a nice way. And then most importantly, we give them instant feedback. The instantaneous nature of showing a user what they did wrong and what they need to look out for is a critical component of the solution. We know how long people's attention spans are these days. Matter of seconds, right? The entire experience with Cybernut is designed to lean into short attention spans. So you learn what you did wrong, you earn an acorn by completing this micro training, answer a quick quiz to make sure you remembered something from that training, and then you're done. And so just like that, you've completed that micro training experience again. You didn't earn full acorns because you did technically fall for a fish, so you don't earn the full points, and the acorns is our currency of points, but you did earn partial points. And so before I give you a demo of the gamification, I just wanted to see if anyone had any questions on this component here where that I'm showing. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Oliver, I just want to add that as we just recently did a setup with the International School of Prague, and you start off by doing a baseline session, don't you, where you do a kind of a hard fish, and then you can see kind of what the starting point is.
Yes. I'm going to show you exactly how that baseline campaign works in just a moment. But that's correct. We do a baseline test to get starter data that we can use to benchmark progress. Nathan.
Hi, yeah, thanks for showing us this. I was curious, for reporting the phishing, in order to get credit for correctly spotting an email, they must have the extension installed. Does that work on, like, if they're, on their mobile device checking their email? How would the same function work?
Yes, that's a great question. The Gmail add-in works on Gmail mobile as well. So I can just give you a really quick demo of how that looks real fast. Gmail mobile. Yeah, so just really fast. So with Gmail mobile, if you receive a phishing a phishing email on your phone, you will go and scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see that there is the squirrel icon right there at the bottom, which I keep scrolling up. Sorry, give it 1 sec. There you go. So do you see the little squirrel there in the bottom right corner? As soon as you click that, it pops up and you can report. So Gmail is compatible with their Google ad. So if you have it added on Gmail web, it'll go to your Gmail mobile automatically, which is pretty cool.
Okay, great. And we can force your extension on Gmail Web?
Everybody.
Okay.
Yes, yes. It's pushed out to everybody. It's required. It goes to everybody. It's not like an opt-in. That's correct.
Great, thanks.
Awesome. So just to close the loop, the leaderboard. The next big pillar of differentiation with Cybernut is our leaderboard. It's opt-in only. You do not have to participate in the leaderboard if you do not want to. If you choose to, you click the link and it brings you to the leaderboard. And the leaderboard shows you two views, the top 10 view of who's in your leaderboard and where you sit. And the really cool thing about the leaderboard is that you can set it up so that teachers are competing with teachers, admins are competing with admins, students are competing with students. So you can come up with a lot of fun ways to drive engagement, and you would be surprised just how passionate people are about collecting their acorns and doing well on the leaderboard. But of course, if at any given moment you don't feel comfortable, you can opt out and remove yourself from the leaderboard by clicking the link. So you can remove yourself. Now, the IT admin will still see your leaderboard data. You can't like completely hide. But if you don't want to participate with your peers, you can do that as well. I'm seeing a few questions come through here in the chat. Yes, GDPR. What we are currently just in the final stages of becoming fully GDPR compliant as well. So we're going to be all set there. And then are the phishing emails differentiated in the grade level? Yes. The content for the phishing emails gets differentiated based on the grades and based on the user group. So there's going to be content, of course, that's more oriented towards teachers, towards admins, towards students. We have a full library of phishing simulations based on different users. And are these groups something you can define based on Google Groups? Yes, that's correct. You can define them based on Google Groups. That is correct. Good questions, guys. So the leaderboard is a really fun way of driving engagement. And some of you might be like, I don't know if the leaderboard would work in my school or what people's thoughts are. In America, people are extremely competitive. And so just to give you a fun example, one of our customers in Kentucky, they export the leaderboard results at the end of the month, and they do a prize ceremony where they're giving out swag and free gifts and Starbucks gift cards. There's also, this school in particular, they had a bunch of iPad 2s laying around, and they started giving out iPad 2s. And people went crazy. I want an iPad. So the cool thing is that it drives engagement, it gets people talking, and it really is an effective way to raise awareness amongst the staff because it makes it more fun. Security training doesn't have to be boring, for a change, which is kind of a unique thing about it. Now, here's a question I'm sure many of you are probably thinking: what happens if I report a real threat? So I'm a little tired. Sorry, it's literally 1 o'clock in the morning. So my pitch is usually a little smoother than this. So forgive me. What happens when a user reports an email that isn't sent from Cybernut, not a phishing simulation? So for instance, this Capital One email may be delivered, and a user is going to say, this looks suspicious. I'm going to report it. And so just like that, a user opens up the plugin and does exactly what they've always done. This feature here is what differentiates us massively because it takes Cybernut from just being a training tool to being a true security layer that allows your school to really help empower all of your faculty and staff to report real threats proactively. That's ultimately what Cybernut is looking to do. So back to what I was saying. I see this email, I'm going to report it, and here's what happens. Wait, did you accidentally click on something in this email? You will not get in trouble by telling us. By sharing this information, it'll help your IT department monitor and catch potential cyber attacks in your school district. Thanks for your cooperation and transparency. Please select from the list below if applicable. So what happens here is we're giving all of your faculty, staff, and students the ability to, in a very private and low embarrassment way, tell you in IT if they did something with the suspicious email. So for example, I opened an attachment, or I forwarded an email, or I logged into a page, report. So that forensic data, sorry, the forensic data of the suspicious email, along with the quiz, the multiple choice answers, that data gets sent directly to a dedicated inbox that you guys are managing, as well as to our back office and to our back end, which I'll show you shortly. But the really cool thing about this is that it really is designed to make your life easier, so that you have one dedicated place to check for all reported threats, versus someone calling you or texting you or forwarding messages when there's a suspicious email that's circulating. So I'll just pause on that and see if anyone has any questions on the report a threat function that isn't on the training piece. No questions. Okay. Oh, wait, sorry.
Oliver, a couple of questions about
We do have
multiple languages. Is that something that's on the roadmap? Obviously, it's English for now, but is that something you're looking at?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We're definitely going to have all languages, and there's no issue there. If anyone needs a specific language, we can absolutely have that personalized.
Okay, so you can do that
What
right now. Like, for
languages?
example, Dutch language. If
Our
Neil-
primary language is Dutch, but it looks very interesting. Yep, you could definitely do it in Dutch. Yeah, no problem. Arabic. Yep, absolutely. I do want to mention a really cool automation that's going to come out soon. So some of you guys are going to be, taking vacation. You're not going to be online. We're developing a automation so that if you guys are out of office, you can create a rule so that if somebody reports a threat while you're out of office, we will automatically block the sender and prohibit that sender from sending any more emails into your school until you guys come back and unblock it. So it's essentially like a secondary security precaution, so that in the event you guys are on vacation, or it's nighttime, or some other circumstance, you don't always have to be afraid of, like, what are my users doing with emails? What could be happening behind, while I'm not at work. Essentially, it's designed to give you guys a bit of a peace of mind, in a sense. So hopefully that's something you guys will like as well when we release that feature later this year as well. Okay, great. So changing gears for a second, I'm going to just flip back to the presentation. As Dan mentioned, everyone on this call is invited to try Cybernut free of charge. We do a very nice free baseline campaign. The baseline campaign is essentially a phishing test that we run. It's 2 weeks. We send 3 phishing emails to all of your faculty and staff, or students, if you want to do your students as well. And the nice thing about it is that there's no Cybernut branding. There are no plugins installed. There are no gotcha emails, and there's no redirect to a "you got phished" page, anything of the sort. So it's a very under the radar phishing test, designed to kind of go undetected and just pick up the click data without setting off alarm bells. It's designed to be very kind of covert. And so the idea, by doing this phishing test, the baseline, you guys are going to be able to determine and see what your vulnerability is. Now, just to give you some data on what that looks like on the back end, I'm just going to log into the back end now. So we have SSO out of the box. So you guys have SSO logins for your admin account. So this experience is the admin experience. This is not end user. This is not teacher. This is just your login. And before I show you some baseline data, I'm just going to show you real quick just how unbelievably fast and easy it is to use Cybernut. So like we talked about earlier, we've designed this solution so that an IT team of 1 can use it, or an IT team of 10, depending on the type of school, depending on the type of budget, and so on and so forth. So it's designed to be very simple. So let's go ahead and pick a campaign. let's give it a test name. We'll call this apps events demo call campaign. We'll give it a start date. So let's start this campaign on June 3rd. And now the end date. Here's what's really cool about the end date. The end date could be 1 month into the future, or it could be 10 months into the future, your entire school year. It doesn't matter to Cybernut. All of the phishing content, all of the trainings, everything is already pre-created and gets automatically scheduled out based on the time that you've chosen your campaign to last. So you're not going to be in a situation where you're having to pause the campaign or add users or create a new campaign or create templates. Everything is set and forget. You don't have to mess around or spend any of your valuable time doing that. So start date, end date. You then choose a time zone. Obviously, we have to add a bunch of time zones for you guys here since we have a lot of countries on the call. And then the blackout dates. This has become one of our most popular features. It allows you to block out dates. So let's say, all right, well, this is IB exam week, and this is, spring break. This is parent-teacher meetings. So you can create blackout dates directly into the campaign so that you give people a break, or you don't send phishing emails on those days. Save and continue. We have a direct integration with Google Workspace. So all of your user groups and all of your users can be easily ported into Cybernut. We also have a connection. We're also set up with Microsoft Azure Active Directory Sync. So if you have Microsoft, you can do an Active Directory Sync integration very easily. You pick out the user group. So this could be students, grades, teachers, departments, so on and so forth. You then go ahead and select or unselect the users. So maybe Mitch, let's say, oh, Mitch doesn't work for us anymore. We'll remove him. You review it and you launch it. In 3, 2, 1, ta-da. Your campaign is scheduled and it's running on autopilot. This also will allow you to have new employees get auto added to the campaign if you have it set up that way. So new employees can be added without you having to pause or interrupt the flow of the campaign either, if you have new people join throughout the year. That's the experience of setting it up. Does anyone have any questions on the campaign creation before I show you some of the data? Nathan, how does this look, Nathan, compared to setting up a KnowBe4 campaign, out of curiosity, from like an ease of use perspective?
Pretty easy compared to that. Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, we've really designed this to be as simple as possible to navigate. So changing slides here. So we have one of our schools, Deer Creek, is in Oklahoma. They gave us permission to share their data with schools in our demos. So they did a baseline campaign. And so once again, just to refresh everyone's memory, the baseline is 2 weeks, 3 phishing emails, randomized, sent to everybody. Okay. So Deer Creek, they had, sorry, I lost the blood. Where'd it go? Here we go. Deer Creek had 520 staff and faculty who participated in the campaign. We sent them 1,200 phishing emails over the duration of the 2 weeks. 426 emails were opened by 227 users. There was a total click rate of 603 and uniques of 250 and 200 users who clicked. So they had a 58% click rate on opened emails and 142% total. Now the 142% means on average, people clicked multiple times on the phishing link. That's how that number gets higher than that's how the percentage is over 100. So obviously they were quite upset when they saw this data and they saw they had such a extreme vulnerability that they decided to deploy training. And just to kind of give a quick overview on what that looked like. This is some of their training data after a 1-month campaign. So they decided to do a 1-month trial campaign, and this is what the data looks like here. So the users, once again, there were 520 users. Over the course of the month, we sent 4,700 phishing emails. 871 were opened by 391 users. Now, the good news is that the click rate went down to 14% after the first month. And that's because the emails in the training campaign were level 1 emails. The training emails in the baseline campaign were level 4. So much harder emails to spot in that baseline campaign. That's done by design. But here's really the metric I really want to focus on, which is the report rate. Cybernut is laser focused on getting the report rate up and to the right. That's really the metric for success that we're benchmarking off of. Now, a lot of tools are talking about quizzes being completed, videos being watched, clicks going down. Those are good, but in our opinion, the real metric for success that we want to be tracking is the report rate. And so just to give a quick visual on that, our objective is over time to be able to demonstrate reports going up and to the right and clicks going down to the right. And so that's really what separates Cybernut apart, is that we're going to give you the data that demonstrates that the investment is working, and you're going to have all the analytics to be able to bring to your board, to your head of school, and to be able to demonstrate that actual progress is being made. Because this is the data that actually shows that your staff and faculty are becoming more and more sensitive to phishing emails and are getting better at spotting it. Do you have any questions on this piece here? Does anyone have any questions or thoughts? No questions. Okie dokie. Now, for those of you who are curious, we have run a campaign on students. So Granville has also volunteered. And the way this works is Granville was in a weird situation. They had several teachers that got hacked, and those teacher emails got compromised and then were used by the hackers to phish all the students. So a teacher that was trusted phished the students with a scam around free furniture and some nonsense. A bunch of students fell for that phish and sent hundreds of dollars in PayPal and Venmo payments to these hackers. It became a huge problem for the community. Yes, Lucians is saying, does the reporting include the ability for admins to know who the staff are that may need extra support? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll show you that data in 1 second. So the long story short is that they ran a phishing test on their students, and this school district had 6,500 students in the district. Over the course of the 2 weeks, we sent almost 14,000 phishing emails to students. 1,300 emails were opened. 1,200 users opened. There was a unique click of 78%. So here's what the metrics break down to. There was only a 10% open rate on the phishing simulation from the students, but of the 10% that were opened, 55% clicked. So a very high click rate. Yes, we are GDPR compliant. Yes, Sanju, we're all set there. We're just getting the finishing touches on that done. So we're going to be all set. And then this is what the summary data looks like. So you can drill in, and you can of course see all of the data on your users directly in the portal as well. Manjul, yes, great question. So currently, all of the templates are pre-created on the back end. We have hundreds of templates of different difficulty levels with different content for different users. They're all automated and pre-created. In the future, we are looking at having the ability for you to also create your own templates. But right now, that functionality is not in the product today. So the beauty and the time-saving aspect of Cybernut is that you're not having to create templates manually. Some people might find it fun or intriguing to create their own templates, which is why we do see a future where you might be able to build out your own. In the meantime, Mandrill, please send us an email with any phishing templates that you would like to see in your campaign, and we can just do it from the back end and add it for you. So definitely feel free to let me know if you have any good phishing emails that you would like to include. But right now, it's all automated. It's designed, it's automated by design because we want to save you guys the time from having to do it yourselves. But yeah, so just to give you a quick visual, you get all the data on the back end. That's what this looks like here. And so, yeah, I think for those of you who might be just wanting a quick double check, the student experience is exactly like this. Students are getting phishing simulations. Now, the frequency is about 2 emails per day. Thanks, Niels. The phishing emails are being sent right now on a cadence of about 2 phishing emails per month per user. So like I said, it's randomized days, times, and content. Here's an Instagram one. And if you're a student, you would spot it, you would report it, you would get acorns, and so on and so forth. Yes, Nathan, country-specific templates, absolutely. So we're live with the Chadwick International School in South Korea. We're live with the Western Academy of Beijing in China, and with the American School in Japan, in Tokyo. So Warren Apple, who you guys might know, is one of our big evangelists over there, and he was actually our very first international school client. So he's been really supporting us with feedback and improving the product as well. So
yes, we know Warren very well.
Oh, good. We love Warren. And then, yeah, Nathan, I think here's just a kind of crazy story for Nathan to hear, since I know he's using KnowBe4. So we used, we have a school district in New York that's been spending about $20,000 a year for KnowBe4 for the past 3 years. And so we piqued their interest for them to explore Cybernut. And what we did is we did a phishing test on all their faculty and staff who had been undergoing KnowBe4 training for the past 3 years. We did the test on 426 of their staff, and they had a staggering 89% click rate on phishing emails.
Wow.
Despite having been using KnowBe4 for the past 3 years, and they were using KnowBe4's video trainings and quizzes. And that's kind of like the wake-up call of like, oh, okay, so videos are obviously one way of training, but for phishing training, we just don't think that they're the best way. And so I think the moral of the story is Cybernut is designed to be a learn by doing. It's designed to be immersive, real time, always going on, always happening. And I think that's what's really unique about the product, is that we found a way to gamify it and make it fun as well. So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the wrap. If anyone's interested in doing a baseline campaign, they can reach out to Katerina over on the Apps Events team. They can also sign up for a demo on our website and just mention Apps Events as a referral code. Or if you're an international school, I'll presume that you heard about us here, and I'll loop in the Apps Events team on any of you guys that sign up through our website for a demo. We've got special early adopter pricing that's available now, And for you, Nathan, and for anyone else that's curious, we would be very happy to do a kind of a side-by-side comparison for you to try Cybernut out on a free trial to test it out and compare it to how Noble4 is working for you guys too. So don't shy away. If you're already using Noble4, please give us a try. We'd be happy to give you guys a kind of a special free trial to give it a whirl and see how it works for you guys as well.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Oliver. That was really interesting.
Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it.
No worries. If you have any further
yeah.
questions, just drop me a message and I'll be in touch with Oliver, and we'll get you on board.